Yo, what's up? Welcome to episode 30 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me as he always does is Woody V. Woods, how are you, brother?
Good, Robbie. Just was watching the awards night, the Gazies, right? And see Jalen Adams, my guy from the Kings, as MVP, and Keanu Pinder, someone who, I admire a lot to win the most improved player. Just put a smile on my face, man. Put a smile on my face.
Safe to say you enjoyed those award nights. So, yeah, we should say literally the award night coverage is just finished. We're recording it's about 8 o'clock on Wednesday, the 27th of April. So we thought we'd come in on a Wednesday this week, talk a little bit about the award nights, talk a bit of NBA playoffs, and, of course, a bit of an NBL playoffs preview, which starts tomorrow night. We'll talk a little bit more about that and maybe the reason why we're wearing these jerseys as we get into it.
For sure.
Look, just the usual, guys, where to find us. If you want to watch the video, we're on YouTube. Please make sure you like and subscribe. The podcasts are available wherever you usually get your podcasts. Please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe those as well. All right, Woods, we might get straight into our jerseys, eh? Not very often that we're sort of dressed. We look like twins at the sort of mum and dad have dressed the same. We do have different jerseys on here, so why don't you take us away with your one?
Yeah, it's only fitting we wore these today, brother. So let me just stand up.
Woody's standing up wearing the Tasmanian Jack jumpers. Number 0, if that is a number, but he's wearing the number 0 Mcintosh jersey. Now, I know Woody was a big fan of this one. Yeah, liking that one, Woods.
Yeah, man. And, I always like to get, somewhat of a random jersey every year. I get a few of those, right? Yep. So, Mikyle Mcintosh, he really played his role on this Tasmania Jack Jumpers team this year. I said at the start of the season he'll fly under the radar, and he has. He's had some fantastic games. In fact, I think 1 or 2 player of the game honors this year. Yeah. And he's been an able third import behind Magette and Adams, and by all reports, he's a favorite amongst his teammates and the fans. Mm-hmm. He's given the JJs 9 points and 4 rebounds across the season, and that's not too bad for a third import. When you've got that third import rule, you can have a role player in that position, and he's done a good job, and he'll have a chance to prove himself in the postseason now, man. So yeah. I've always been a fan of the way he goes about his business. So, yeah.
Good call. No, I like that one, mate. Well, look, I certainly like the random player jerseys as well, Woods. So on that note, I'm hanging, whilst it's not a random player, it's very old school jersey there. Thought it was kind of fitting that I might hang up a Miami Heat and wear a Tasmania Jack Jumpers jersey tonight. So obviously Tasmania are the teams that made the top 4 over my Wildcats, which we'll talk a little bit more later. And obviously Miami's just knocked our Hawks out today in a pretty dreadful performance by the ATL there. So yeah, the jersey I'm rocking there, it's a very old school Alonzo Mourning Miami Heat road jersey from the year 2000. As I said, no hard feelings towards the Heat for what they did today. Of course, we know Zoe was an amazing NBA player. A little bit of his resume there, Woods. He was an NBA champ, of course, 7-time All-Star, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time All-NBA player, Hall of Famer, won a gold medal at Sydney 2000, and that jersey hanging up right there is actually retired by the Miami Heat. So, yeah, shout out to Zoe there, and Georgetown alum, who I know
I love all my Georgetown centers, bro.
Boys. Yeah. You'd like that one?
Yeah, man.
So, look, in terms of the jersey I'm showcasing today, look, I did think long and hard about this. I sort of had another couple of jerseys organised that I was going to wear tonight, but we thought we'd sort of just make it a little bit more sort of topical and everything else like
Hell
that.
Yeah.
Should say also to the viewers, I've had my jersey way longer than Woody's had his jersey, so obviously he's a bit of a copycat there. But
get out of here!
What was that? I did it with the Josh Green jersey.
Yeah, you did, man. You did. I was just about to say.
Yeah. You like that one, right? Yeah. So look, I'll just stand up and show you this one, and then tell you a little bit about who I'm wearing anyway.
So Robbie's wearing the Looney Tunes, same jersey as me, Jack Jumpers number 2, floor general Josh Magette. What a leader he's been for that team this year. Yeah, I was just saying what a great leader Josh Magette's been for that team this year, Robbie. Yeah.
Absolutely. And look, for people that don't know the whole story about Josh Magette, he's a veteran now. He's age 32. He also played 18 games with none other team in the NBA, the now Atlanta Hawks there, Woods.
He did indeed. Yeah.
That was in 2018. He certainly had a great year for Tasmania. I really like the way he plays. He's very fun to watch. It's funny, I was sort of looking through, as you do, Woods, at some of his old box scores for the Atlanta Hawks today, and I was reading through the box score when he got his career high of 8 against the Bulls in January 2018. My goodness, that was a crappy Hawks team back then, I tell you. That was only 4 years ago, but geez, they had some random players. And I think they might have also been trying to break the record for most white guys on one team. They probably would have been trying to break a Utah record. So very quickly, Woods, the people I'm talking about there. So we had Ersan Ilyasova and Miles Plumlee, of all people in the starting five. Off the bench, we had Marco Bellinelli, we had Mike Moose Muscala, we had Luke Babbitt, don't call him Rabbit, and then we had Josh Magette. So quite unbelievable there. It's not something you see on a lot of teams, and probably no surprise the Hawks were pretty ordinary that year. So look, that's a little bit about Josh Magette there. Now, with all these late changes, Woods, I wasn't sure if I had a bobblehead. You know I don't have a Josh Magette bobblehead. I'm not sure if they ever made one, but I do have a bobblehead of the man whose jersey I'm hanging. So there's the great Alonzo Mourning bobblehead wearing his white Miami Heat home jersey there. So another one of those stadium giveaways, as I like to show off. It's a nice looking one, isn't it? Yeah, it actually looks quite a bit like him. So, yeah, so that's a bit of Alonzo Mourning. All right, Woods, we might get straight back into it, eh?
Let's do it, Robbie.
Thought we might start off with some NBA playoffs today. It's pretty sort of topical, given, there's been sort of games on every day this week. Look, we've already seen 2 series in the East end already. Yeah, how are you enjoying the game so far, mate?
I'm really enjoying them, and I guess I want to start off by talking about Jason Tatum a little bit, right? I think the guy's just been ridiculous on both ends of the floor. And in my opinion, he's probably that playoffs MVP so far, and the way he's been shutting down Durant with his defense has been a pleasant surprise, right?
Sure has.
And we're watching him become a superstar before our eyes. And, pretty slow start to the season. We're pretty critical of the Celtics early on. But I think Udoka's got that group playing really well. They're all buying in to his beliefs and his system. And it starts with Jason Tatum, the leader of that team. And yeah, that's definitely one thing that I've noticed. Also want to quickly talk about the Grizzlies. That's another. I mean, although they've had a very impressive season, I just want to say I don't think they're quite ready to make a deep playoff run yet. I mean,
it's been a funny series against Minnesota, hasn't it, so far?
Definitely. I mean, Minnesota should have actually won the series by now, right? Because the Grizzlies are up 3-2, but you look back to game 3 and the game today, which you can speak on a little bit. It could be 4-1 Minnesota's way, right? But no regard for human life today with that Ja Morant dunk as well. I got to mention that.
Oh,
right?
That was ginormous, wasn't it? He's certainly gone for a few of those this year, but that was massive, wasn't it? So. Yeah, no, good call. So I don't know. You're right though. Minnesota's definitely seemed like they probably had the edge in some of those games.
Yep.
I think Memphis will get through in that series, but yeah, you're probably right. I'm not sure whether they'll go an extra series after that. Obviously, we'll wait and see. What do you think has got the most chance of going 7, Woods? Any of the series?
Yeah, look, I mean, I thought that Phoenix and New Orleans series might have a chance of going 7, but just
it? The next game to New Orleans, it could definitely be 3-3 after that. But I mean, I guess that's one of the few chances now, because that was probably my next question to you. Obviously, we've got 2 series tomorrow. We've got that are basically 3-1 at the moment. So, I mean, are you expecting either the Bucks or Golden State to not advance tomorrow, and maybe a potential road upset there? Or?
No, I think both those series will finish off tomorrow, right? Because
gentleman's sweep, right, with a 4-1 record.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah. So look, we must sort of mention, I guess, look, there's only going to be one team that was swept in the first round, and unbelievably it was the Brooklyn Nets there. So a team sort of along with the Lakers at the start of the year that people talked about for world championship sort of chances there. What was your sort of take on that? It was a very interesting series, I thought. Like you said before, Tatum totally sort of dominated that. He really outplayed Durant. Kyrie had his moments. We had a few Steph Curry games. We had Nick Claxton missing 1,000 free throws yesterday. And we also had some guy dressed up in a clown outfit on the bench for a couple of the games, although I didn't see him the last game. But yeah, he did look like he had like a clown outfit on, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, what was your take on that series?
Yeah, I mean, we have a group chat with Stu from the Sports Blokes, and he's been talking to us a lot about their defense and how they're a bit too small. And I also want to talk a little bit about the fact that they had so many guys coming in and out of the lineup this year. They started off with James Harden, they've had distractions with trades and Ben Simmons coming in, and as a group, you want to learn to play together, and get familiar with the people around you. And I just think that they haven't actually had that continuity this year. Kyrie coming in and out of the lineup, depending on when he can and can't play. Things like that haven't actually helped that lineup.
Does anything go back on Steve Nash, Woods, or do you think he'll get a bit of a pass this year, just given all those sort of reasons you spoke about before?
Yeah, I think Steve Nash has got what it takes to be a good coach in this league, right? And let's give him a proper preseason with the group. Hopefully Ben Simmons, I mean, you can speak on Ben Simmons, but, let's just hope that he comes back.
Speaking about him, to be honest, mate. I was going to say to you, though, what did you think of Stephen A. Smith's comments about him? That was pretty, I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but he basically said he's the most unprofessional sports person he's ever seen in any sports in the last 30 years. I mean, that's pretty sort of damning comments. I mean, I made a joke with someone the other day. Would it shock you if you were to, pick up your phone in 3, 6, 12 months' time, pick it up, and there's a comment saying that Ben Simmons is retired from the NBA? It probably wouldn't shock me.
No. And he was the only one. Ex-player Derek Martin came up with a comment recently, and a few others followed suit and had some things to say. So, I mean, it's up to him next year to really come out and prove himself in preseason, and because the guy's getting paid a lot of money. We've said it a lot of times before. So it's up to him to.
We should also say as well, Woods, we've talked about mental health. It's something we both sort of, treat seriously in that. If that's, what is going on with Simmons, I really, and I'm sure you do, hope that he does get the help that he needs there. I just think a couple of times with him, it's really becoming a little bit of that boy cried wolf type thing. He says he's got some back injury, and then he rocks up to the game wearing the before mentioned clown outfits. Now, as you know, Woods, I get very bad backs from time to time, right? Where I've been close to sort of being in an ambulance before it's been so bad. Now, when my back goes like that, I can't stand, walk for maybe a week or whatever. I certainly wouldn't be going to a stadium, sitting on the benches and those sort of things. And I was watching the way he was sort of moving around in that. Didn't seem to be a lot of back pain there in my mind. So potentially it is the more psychological sort of stuff there. But look, either way, I felt like we've spoken a lot about him over these 30 podcast episodes. I think probably because we care about him. We've seen what he can do. He's a fellow Australian, although... Anyway, no, I'm not going to go and say more because I feel like I'm digging him now.
I mean, the comment is though, he gave up on LSU, as Shaq said. He gave up on the Philadelphia 76ers. He gave up on the Australian team, not just at the Olympics. Other times he's not come and represented the country with pride and distinction like everyone else does. 100%. And you feel that he's done it again here with his Nets team. Could have just come out and played a fourth game, given him 5-10 minutes, a little bit of a spark. You got the whole season to recover from whatever niggle you have. But yeah, I mean, let's just see what happens next year, right?
It would have been interesting if he had played in that game 4 games, because they said he would have become the first player in NBA history to get knocked out of consecutive playoff games in 2 consecutive games. So his last game would have been the game when Trey tore him to shreds in Eastern Conference last year, and then it would have been a game back. But obviously we didn't get that. So we'll wait and see what happens next year. Like I said, I hope he comes back. But...
Well, if Nicholas Claxton hit maybe 2 or 3 more of his free throws, then, Nets would be taking it to a game 5 now, right? 1 from 11.
How is that possible, honestly?
1 from 11. That's got to be close to a record. It's the worst.
I mean, you and I could go to any court now. We could do Rick Barry style underarm free throws. We could shoot with our opposite hand.
Grandma style, granny style.
I almost reckon if I was at the free throw line doing those over the head ones, if I had a few practice shots before doing it, I'd make a couple of those. I certainly wouldn't miss 11 in a row. I mean, that's just, he should give some paychecks back. But you're right, though. I mean, that was a pretty close game, and he missed, all those free throws. So that just shows you probably can't put all the blame on sort of, the stars on the team. And we needed other guys for Brooklyn to step up there. So,
can I ask you one thing, Robbie? Have we seen the last of Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge in the NBA?
Aldridge barely did he even play in that series? So yeah, I'd say probably the answer would be he might be the first one gone. I'd say the fact that Griffin has got not that he's really showed it, but he's still got a few passing skills. He can hit down an open 3 potentially if he's open. I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs around another year, but I would not be surprised.
He can hit an open 3. I don't think he did this year, right?
No, I don't think he did either, but he didn't really get the ball, in fairness. But yeah, it was pretty sad to see. I mean, I saw him on that last play. Basically, when he ran down, I think Marcus Smart had the ball. He played pretty good D. Kyrie decided, professional basketballers don't know how to box out, so he basically just stood there and let Big Al Horford put in that sort of deciding basket there. Yep. But yeah, we'll watch with interest with that. But that's probably been the last time we mentioned Brooklyn for a while. But I thought it was probably topical we sort of talk about some of that. So, all right, so we might stick with the NBA theme. Woods, we'll get the black armbands on. We'll pour out a drink there, and we'll do a little bit of a Hawks talk. Right?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, so I was just going to say, pretty ordinary few days of basketball results for my teams there, Woods. Obviously, with the news with Perth not making the NBL playoffs, and then obviously we saw Miami wrap up a pretty convincing, I probably should say very convincing 4-1 result. I think Miami were the stronger, more well-rounded team, a lot more physical, a lot more sort of bully in them there. What are your sort of thoughts about that? Obviously, disappointment, I'm sure, but yeah, what was your take on that series in general?
Yeah, look, I mean, Miami came with, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, like somewhat of a big three, and they've got so many different guys that can contribute. And when all of those guys are out, with injuries at various times in the year, right? The other guys, the role players, stepped up and had more of a role to play, and that put them in a good position come playoff time because they'd had them reps into them, right? Yeah. I was gonna say with someone like Trey, what I've seen is just talking about Miami and them having somewhat a three-headed monster. He's a fantastic player, but I think he needs a top-tier player to support him for the Hawks to make a splash in the East next year, right? And Hawks have a lot of assets they need to use potentially to get someone to join him. And then Trey might get a co-star, which can help him. And that someone also needs to have a high level of defensive prowess. I mean, their defense is ranked 26th in efficiency, and that was a problem for them all season, as you know. Yeah. And when Young's on the court, as good as an offensive player as he is, their defensive efficiency drops considerably. Now, I'm not saying they're a better team without Trey on the court, but they need to get a better balance of players here for his shortcomings on that end of the floor. And as I alluded to earlier, an elite level player with defensive chops to put alongside him, would be ideal. A Jimmy Butler type. I know you're not a big fan of Jimmy Butler, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And injuries as well. It's certainly taken a toll on this roster all year. That starting lineup that lost the Eastern Conference Finals last year, Trae Young, Bogdanovic, Red Velvet, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Yep. They started only 9 games this year. Going 8-1 in those 9 games. So. Yep. And they missed more than 50 games, that group of players. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, you've definitely sort of raised some good points there, Woods. I mean, something I've noticed over the years, I just think there's a lot of inconsistent players on the Hawks. And I think Kevin Huerter is someone that can, have one game where he gets, 27 points and he could get, 2 points the next. So he's been someone that's been sort of really disappointing, I reckon, Kevin Huerter. I think he hasn't taken that next step. John Collins is probably the big one. I mean, look, they signed him, a big contract there. He's had a lot of health issues this year, but he just hasn't seemed like really a shell of himself. I mean, if you were sort of watching that series against Miami for the first time, and you would not have believed he was the Hawks' sort of second best player and someone that, I predicted was maybe a chance to sort of make an all-star game over the next couple of years. So not quite sure what's going on with JC there. I hope they sort of sort that out in the off-season. He comes back motivated and sort of ready for that next year, I guess.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. Look, in terms of sort of the makeup of the team there, I think it's definitely bye-bye to Lou Williams and to Gallo. Thanks for your service. I expect Lou Williams will probably retire to the strip clubs. Gallo will find another role somewhere, but it's going to be on a lot reduced money that he's been earning the last few years now. So, yeah. I mean, people have mentioned it. I'd love to see him maybe do like some sort of maybe a 3-for-1 trade to try and sort of shore up, trade 3 of our players for obviously a marquee type player that, like you said, can play with Trey.
Yep.
Only issue with that now is I think DeAndre Hunter's probably proven that he may be the second best player on the team. His overall defense, he was amazing today. He had a great series. He was probably he was our best player against Miami. There's no way that we can make one of those trades and not give him up. So that's also a bit of a worry there too. I mean, I think we made the right move getting rid of Cam Reddish just because he wasn't a great locker room presence. But, that was a high draft pick we gave up and got nothing for. We've got to make sure if we are going to get rid of Hunter there that we get something back in return. And also, Woods, in terms of that roster makeup there, I've sort of wondered as well, could the Hawks look at potentially getting rid of Capella, who's got pretty good trade value? Do you think Onyeka Okongwu is capable of being a starting center at this stage? What's your thoughts on that?
I definitely think it's worth biting the bullet and using Capella as an asset to bring back, that player I talked about. John Collins as well. I mean, as much as, I know how much you love him and, I'm a fan of his as well, though we could cut ties with him, right?
What about, Woods, if you could give up, say, Capella, Kevin Huerter and Bogey, who I wouldn't want to get rid of, but you've got to give up stuff to get in return. So maybe that could be a potential trio sort of package that they offer and try and get someone back. And I guess if you did that, you'd probably want to have JC at the 4, Onyeka at the 5 there, so you'd really be looking at getting a 2 or 3 in return there. So it just sort of depends on who's out there. I guess they don't grow on trees, those sort of swingman positions. But
yeah, I agree. That's possible to keep those 3 together. Something about JC, I know you mentioned him a bit earlier. I wanted to ask you, like he's not getting many looks this series. He's not involved in the offense as much. Is there any reason for that? Is that on him to go and do more? Is that Nate McMillan? Or he just seemed like a bit disengaged during the
No, he
series.
does.
You know?
I mean, what happened to those big alley-oops that Trey would always
Yep.
throw to Collins? We just a fixture of sort of Hawks games. I mean, I wonder whether his injuries, he's had a couple of combined sort of ones there, whether maybe he's just not as healthy and he tried to do his best to get out there. Maybe we'll hear, like in the off-season, he's having multiple surgeries or something. Not quite sure. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? I would have thought against some of those big guys to Miami, he could have really held his own. But, what was he getting about, 10 points a game and 5 or 6 rebounds. It just wasn't what we're expecting with JC there. So, no, I appreciate that, Woods. Also wanted to say as well, I know there's going to be a lot of hate about Trey. Rightfully so. He had an absolutely terrible series. But I'd just like to say to all the haters out there that may have only watched him for the first time all season in this playoffs, and if you're one of those people, you know who you are, right? You know who you are. So what I'd like to say there, he had an amazing season. He played 76-odd games, incredible season against all types of defenses and every team in the NBA there. So I certainly don't think it's doom and gloom. I'm still really proud of what Trey gave us this year. Scored the most points in the NBA, had the most assists in the NBA. His percentages were much improved, although they were terrible in the series. But I think he made some big steps this year. So people that actually watch the games this year will probably understand what I'm talking about. But like I said, there will be a bit of hatred coming his way, and I hope he's prepared for that. So I think there's no sort of denying he will get some. So, all right, Wood. So we've poured the drink out now for the Hawks. I guess Hawks talk will have a bit of a hiatus now unless we sort of make that 3-for-1 trade or something sort of interesting goes on there. But
yeah, man,
it's been fun sort of talking about them every few weeks anyway. So, all right, Woods, are you ready for a little bit of NBL talk?
Oh, hell yeah, man.
If I heard rightly, the playoffs start this week. Is that right? Or
tomorrow night, brother.
Tomorrow night, okay, right. And so, who are the Wildcats? Oh shit, they didn't make it, did they? All right, I don't want to do this segment now, but look.
Can we rewind to the start of the season when I just gave you a little bit of a gripe? Could this be the year that the Wildcats? The
first year. I still think they do need to get some credit, right, for having all that time they played on the road. There's no denying, although, they got some results in there. There's no doubt when they got home, they were mentally fatigued, they were physically fatigued. It was a big thing to be away from their families for so long. I think we talked on this podcast, and I forget who it was with. We had a guest that week. They had 9 games at home. How many do you think they'll win, sort of thing? I think all of us thought 7, or maybe they could get on a run and win 8. So they won 3.
3, man. Lost 6.
3 out of those last 9. I believe every sort of single team beat us on our home court there. And, it's games like at the end of the season for the Wildcats, when they lost to Adelaide or, even that
got hammered.
Southeast Melbourne, they did. Yeah. They were embarrassed when the Kings came to town a few weeks ago. So, yeah, pretty disappointing. I mean, it's still probably sinking in for me, to be honest. It still doesn't feel real. I guess maybe when the playoffs start tomorrow and I see that the Wildcats aren't out there. Look, I don't want to turn this into a Scott Morrison bashing session, Woods. I've probably said a few things probably offline to you, in the last week or so. Look, that roster when he came here, there was already, I think, 7 or 8 players on the team. So he clearly didn't have a say in the construction of that roster. I think Frazier might have been the only one that he might have had some sort of say coming in, maybe Hodgson towards the end. I'm not 100% sure about that. I just didn't kind of like the way he handled things. I'm pretty sure that he will be coming back for next season. All indications are, he's been doing all the player exit interviews. That sounds to me like someone that they are going to come back for that second season. What the Wildcats need to do, and they need to urgently do it with this bloke, is get him some media training, because I've never seen a coach come in and just be so combative and just like unfriendly towards people in the media that are asking questions that they're paid to do. We've seen him yell at teenagers this year, asking questions. We've seen him just be generally surly and just not giving anything in these press conferences. The thing that really pissed me off, and I know it did a few Wildcats fans, including other fans that have the same surname as me and my family, the way he walked off the court at the end, that's not going to be something I'd forget anytime soon. I thought it was disgraceful. It's like, right, leave the players to sort of deal with this. It was almost like he wanted to get off because he was worried that, he might get booed by the home crowd or whatever his sort of reasons were. I know he obviously showed back after that for the press conference, but absolutely poor form by Scott Morrison doing that. And that's not what a leader of a class organisation like the Wildcats should do. So if he does come back, for God's sake, please get the guy some media training. I was told when I was a kid, Woods, treat people how you want to be treated, right? I've told you that before. Sure. I live by that motto. So Morrison needs to do the same. If people are asking him legit, fair questions about, things that might have distracted the team or why they might not be doing this and that, how about you answer in a civil way, right? And then people will have some more respect for you. When the going does get tough like this, people aren't going to try and throw you under the bus because you've been an absolute jerk to them all season. So I've probably had my say with that, Woods. Wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah, so while I agree with you, man, totally agree with you, right? The guy needs some training, he needs to speak better, right? I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit here, right? You can't put everything that happened this season on him, right?
No,
you know, as far as his work on the floor, you know, he came in late, you know, as you said, he didn't really have a training camp with his team. A lot of that stuff was done over Zoom. We were going through COVID. Like, his coaching on the floor is not necessarily shouldn't come under as much criticism as it is. Yes, off the floor, the way he handles himself needs a bit of work, but I would give him another year. Give him a little bit of a time to have some say, as you said, in the construction of the roster. And I think that even though they had a Vic Law type and a Bryce Gordon type, they really missed like a Nick Kay or John Mooney, someone like that, man. If they had someone like that to go alongside Law and Cotton this year under Roth's tutelage, I think that team would have done a lot better. And fair play to them.
They might shake up that team a bit, Woods. Like, you know, there's guys like Todd Blanchfield who doesn't seem like he's, you know, one of Morrison's favourites. I'd be surprised if he's back. Guys like Kevin White might have come to the end of the line now.
Oh, for sure.
Look, Hodgson was a big recruit there. He was a bit disappointing, wasn't he? You know, there's a stat today, the more minutes he played, the worse their record was. But I still think him and Majoki is a decent two-headed monster there. So if you can keep those two Aussies there and try and shore up the imports around other positions, maybe that's the way to go. Cotton will definitely be back. I'd actually probably be surprised if Vic Law's back, to be honest, man. I think he wouldn't be surprised if he ends up somewhere else, whether it's another NBL team or perhaps tries to chase the money in Europe. I think he's probably not quite NBA ready, although the DD Lazada test, Woods, if you're an NBA GM, would you have that guy who's basically useless or Vic Law? So we know the answer for that one. But look, that's probably the end of my Wildcats rant. I've got it off my chest now. It feels better. I'll probably be able to sleep a bit tonight. You know, I won't have to sort of keep having these bad memories of the season. So, all right, let's talk some positive stuff now, Woods. Obviously, we're wearing these jerseys today for a reason, right? Yep. Tell us a little bit about the Jack Jumpers and how amazing that was that they made the playoffs in their first year.
Just amazing. 17 wins in their first year. I said it last week, you know, Homicide comes up with some hot takes, and a lot of them are right, and this is another one of them, right? And look, I don't know, did you see Matt Kenyon's video that he took and posted on Instagram at his house? I mean, I think it was Mcintosh, Magne, Kenyon, and McVeigh, maybe a couple of others watching that last game on TV. And when SEM beat Perth, they were going absolutely nuts. You know, so good to see that. They were embracing each other, hugging each other, like, like Christmas had come early or something, man. They were so happy, and that just embodies this team, right? And how much it means to them. And in the heart and soul, the heartbeat of that team is Scott Roth, who was just announced as Coach of the Year in the awards night. Okay, he did get it. So
well deserved.
So his team goes where he goes, and they have great leaders on this team. You know, a guy like Jack McVeigh, who's setting embodiment of a great human being as well. You know, you got a guy like Scott Roth at the top of as the coach, right? And the guy's jersey wearing Josh Magette, who controls the tempo of the game, as you said, a veteran. You know, who's been around the block. So having these leaders, and having that mentality of defense comes first. It's unbelievable. I mean, if you said they were going to be anything better than 8th, 9th, or 10th, I think Peter Hooley said this at the awards night, at the start of the awards night today, you were lying if you said they were going to be higher than that, right?
If anyone comes out now and says that, because there was a lot of teams discards. I mean, they got...
Homicide said it, all right? We'll give it to him, right? Sure. But that's it, right?
Homicide's had a lot of takes that haven't been right over the years as well, so we must say that too. But honestly, though, they got a lot of sort of discards from other teams, didn't they? I mean, I know the guys the Wildcats sort of gave up. I mean, I don't think they were too concerned about giving up people there, but all these guys have sort of gone there and they've played the role. The whole, city and the whole state has embraced them. So it has been good to see, hasn't it?
And Robbie, I think, the awards night was today. Next week, we'll probably compare our choices at the start of the season.
While we're at Woods, why don't you talk us through a couple of those awards? I know you're all over that tonight. I was sort of doing dinner and other stuff that time, but tell us a couple of those main sort of awards there.
Yeah, so Keanu Pinder wins the most improved player. Antonius Cleveland wins the defensive player of the year.
No issues with that, yep.
You've got Scott Roth winning the coach of the year. Jalen Adams crowned MVP. And the first team and the second team, I'm just trying to bring them up here, man. See if I can get them
there's
here.
a little bit of controversy going around on sort of NBL Twitter about Cooks making the second team. So I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, Cook's made the second
He
team.
clearly had an amazing season. I think Josh Adams made the second team as well. From memory.
Josh Adams. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, Josh Adams. I had him as the scoring champ at the start of the year. I think he might have come in the top 10 somewhere.
Yeah.
But, that was really good to see that they put him in there. Cleveland made first team.
JLA, Bryce Cotton.
So, yeah, rookie of the year.
So
JLA, Bryce Cotton, Adams.
Yeah.
Bull Call won Rookie of the Year. I'm just trying to bring up these.
Six man was probably.
Six man was Shea Illy. Shea Illy, brother. That was a bit of a surprise.
Mays didn't win it. I was close on that prediction at the start of the year, wasn't I? Interesting.
Yeah,
but you're right though. We will sort of bring up our sort of predictions, and the full disclosure there. I'll sort of give myself a rap over the knuckles for picking Joe Chi for MVP and all those sort of things. But no, we'll have a chat about that next week and sort of talk through it. But look, as I said, I didn't get to see it. It sounds like they put on a pretty good awards night there. Did hear there was quite a few commercial breaks going on, but hey, we got to do that to pay the bills, I suppose. But all right, so
hey, one more thing I wanted to ask you, man.
Yeah.
Quickly, we had the celebrity game. Okay, the Sydney Kings Starlight Foundation celebrity game, right? I was there, definitely, and a bit of controversy that came out of it. I don't know if you saw Nick Kyrgios dominating the game, right?
I saw the highlights, yeah.
Well, Steve Carfino's come out and absolutely slammed him. He said this guy's been blocking shot. He was blocking the Premier. He's blocking Miss World, refusing to come out of the game, scoring on everybody. Like hunting for the MVP award.
Yeah.
And Carfino said this guy showed no sportsmanship in doing this. It's about raising money for a good cause. Was Carfino right in saying that?
It was interesting, wasn't it? Carfino certainly didn't hold back, and they almost asked him to, were you sort of being serious? And he sort of doubled down on his comments there. I mean, look, I must admit, I sort of tend to agree with Mr. Magic on that one. From what I saw with the highlights, Kyrgios was just, basically, I think sometimes you've got to realize it's a celebrity game. You are playing against people of differing ages, different sizes, different fitness levels and stuff. I mean, you look at some of those guys on the court, there was a lot of battlers there, let's face it. Some people that, look like they barely even have played a game of basketball in their lives there. So I think people, once they get on the court, they do get kind of that fever, like we call it white line fever on the football field. We've seen it in NBA celebrity games. You get the person that always plays a little bit hard there and stuff. So, look, I'm not going to sort of deny the guy for playing hard. He put on a bit of a show there, and the stuff with him not coming out for subs and do all that stuff, that's a bit lame if you ask me. But I'll throw it back at you, Woods. What did you think? You sort of saw it happening live. Did you have any problems seeing it live? Or
no, I don't really mind it. Like he got a lot of coverage on the league, and Kyrgios is a big name, but I see what Mr. Magic is saying, right?
Yeah.
But at the same point, Kyrgios is a showman, man. Would you expect anything different from Nick Kyrgios?
Exactly right. No, there's no surprise there, is it? So, all good.
And Kyrgios has come out and said, if you look how much I do, for the foundation, and I'm contributing, and for him to be such a big ambassador for the sport in Australia and come to all our Kings game and support the team like he does, I got a lot of love for Nick. So
it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't type things in that situation there. He's obviously the most skilled player on the court. He wanted to show it, but he probably just maybe went a little bit too hard there. But no, good. That was good sort of talking about that. Well, look, before we finish up with the, I guess the NBL talk, Woods, obviously we mentioned at the start of the show, the playoffs start tomorrow night. So we've got games, I think, basically from tomorrow night all the way through to Tuesday if they go to game 3. Thought we might give some quick predictions. You want to start off with that?
I got the Kings in 3. Right? I know that home court advantage is tough, but they could do it in 2, actually. I know you said offline you think the Illawarra is going to sweep it, but Jalen Adams is healthy. He's back. And I got to say my Kings, man. I'm going to say Kings. I'm going to say Kings in 2. They're going to get it done on Friday and Sunday. We're not going to see a game 3, right?
I'm going to say the opposite. I'm not being that Kings hater thing, but I just love this Illawarra team. So I'm going to say Illawarra will win in 2. I think the Kings have been a little bit shaky at home. I think they've lost their last maybe 2 or 3 home games.
2.
They've been close ones, but I think Illawarra has shown they can sort of win anywhere. So I think Illawarra will get that the first win on Friday, and then they'll sort of back up on Sunday, and they'll finish it there. And so I think they'll send the Kings home. So what do you think about the other series?
I reckon Melbourne can take Melbourne and Tasmania is going to go to 3 games, right?
Yeah, I think each just the home team winning sort of thing. Is that what you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think, right? Yeah.
How excited would you be if tomorrow night, if the Jack Jumpers beat Melbourne and they had a chance to go back and basically win 1 game and make a grand final? How good would that be?
Well, we saw that with Illawarra last year when they beat your Perth Wildcats in Game 1 in RAC Arena, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
They had a chance to close it out. at the Win Entertainment Center last year,
Yeah.
and failed. So it actually put some pressure on you, man. You know, like
And Woods, do you like the playoff format? Obviously, we have the 3-game first round, 5 games for the grand final. Do you like so you don't? Like
I do
that? So
not.
tell
We
me
need to
how-
have 5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Okay,
yeah.
this series deserves 5. This Sydney and Illawarra series.
I agree. Settle on a number and then do it that. It just seems weird. I mean, I know the NBA did that years ago, didn't they? Those earlier rounds were best of 5.
Just the first round. Just the first round.
But when you've only got 4 teams making the finals and just a semi-final round, I agree. Make it a best of 5. There's more revenue there. I don't know why it's like that.
And coaches can make some adjustments and it can be a proper series. 3 games, you blink and it's gone.
And you look at the logistics, what it would have been this year, Woods. It would have been pretty easy for travel, wouldn't it? Melbourne and Tasmania, 2 closest teams together. Sydney and Illawarra, 2 closest teams together. So that would have worked out well in terms of that.
And the NBL reduced from 36 to 28 game regular season this year, right?
Yeah.
So I mean they're playing 8 less games in the regular season. So why not have 2 more games in the semi-finals? I don't think it hurts anybody, man.
Sure.
Right?
All right. So I've got Melbourne and Illawarra in the final. You've got Sydney and Melbourne in the final. Who's your prediction to go all the way?
Sydney, man. Of course. Who else? I told Jaden as well, man. I reached out to Jaden. I said, man, if our teams were in the final, I'm going to come out to Melbourne and watch a game with you. And he said, like, I'm thinking of coming to Sydney to watch a game with you. So,
Nice.
it'll be pretty nice. Yeah.
I'll stick with the Hawks just because I want some sort of basketball team that's called the Hawks to win this year. But look, either way, I think it's going to be a great final series. I am sad inside that the mighty Wildcats aren't going to be there, but we'll start off another streak now and hopefully get it. I think I was basically in primary school the last time they didn't make it. I'd only sort of been following those first couple of years. So crazy to think that the streak's over, but I guess all good things come to an end. So, all right, good stuff, Woods. Well, I thought just before we get into your favourite segment, which I know you're pumped about as always, thought we'd have to talk a little bit about NBL1.
For sure, man.
So I know, obviously, followers of us would have seen on Twitter this week, I posted the picture with me and the GOAT, Lauren Jackson. So that was just an amazing experience for me there. I got to basically call the Albury games for KO Sports there. So Albury against the Hills Hornets, which was great. But just for me, meeting Lauren Jackson and sort of getting to know her a little bit as a person there. She was so gracious, shared a few laughs with her. And it was really good sort of seeing just how excited people were meeting her. I mean, there was, little girls going up to her. There was grumpy old men like me going up to her and meeting her, people a lot older than me, and everyone from all sort of walks of life were going up to her, and she was just as friendly with each person, and had all the time for her and that there, which I always like seeing stuff like that. So that was pretty cool, I thought. In terms of how she went in the game, so she was pretty good, Woods. She played 19 minutes against the Hornets there and put up 36 points and 15 rebounds in that 37-point win. So she was amazing. The way she uses her body down low to get those seals on the defender, and obviously she had the height advantage there. You see that photo, Woods? I was eye to eye with her, so I was actually a bit disappointed. I thought she was going to be a bit taller in the flesh there, but obviously she's put on a lot of weight. I think she might be 20 to 25 at least kilos beyond her sort of playing weight back then. So she was big. I mean, big sort of body. So she was just moving girls around like they were rag dolls there. And as well, just her shooting. Her free throws were automatic. She'd do that sort of trailer on the fast break where she just pull up for the 3 at the top there. So as I said, it was a real honour there. We don't know how long she'll be playing there. She could pick up an injury and decided to throw in the towel here and there. Should mention that Albury girls team as well. We had the Japanese national point guard, Aya Hamada, on the team. She was amazing. She was so quick. She really ran the tempo of the game really well. So I think having Hamada there along with Lauren Jackson, I mean, I think that Albury team would definitely be sort of one of the, if not the favourite to win that NBL1 East for the women there. So, look, I'll try not to talk about NBL1 East every time we sort of bring this up because I have been following the other games. You see some of the ones in Melbourne and Perth. There's some amazing players there. But did want to mention I'll also be commentating this Sunday, Woods, to see the Hills Hornets against Illawarra. So this Illawarra team is pretty loaded. So they've got Kiwi Gardner on the team who played G League for the Golden State Warriors affiliate. Very exciting player. They've got our boy, actually, because he's someone that played for both our teams, Lucas Waxy Walker. And they just added another guy to their team last week. People may remember seeing him about a month ago for 80s night at the Illawarra, dressed up as Shaggy. Now, I've got to say, when that first came on, I thought he was dressed up as a drag queen. I didn't realise it was Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, so apologies to Oscar Former. But yeah, I get to call...
The Big O.
The Big O. I get to call all 3 of those guys this weekend, so looking forward to that. A little bit worried about the Hornets, how they're going to go against a team with that sort of talent there, but I know you'll be coming out to see another game soon, Woods. It just hasn't worked out well with the games. They seem to keep playing the same time that the Kings are playing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's happening this weekend, so the Kings will be out in 2 games anyway, so you better come to the next game.
Come on, man. Keep doing your thing, man. Doing a great job, and you're getting the recognition you deserve, man. So
thanks, mate. Very fun. It's just it's been fun sort of going there each week. It's, going to work as such, but, going in with a smile on my face and leaving the place, 5-6 hours later with an even bigger smile on my face. So thanks for the support, Woods, and all the people who sort of reached out and left comments about that this week. So, all right, it seems like it might be the time now, Woods, for, as I said before, your favourite part of the week. What do you got for us this week, bro?
I got the 93-94 tops. This is the one with the one gold card in there.
You must be starting to run out of these ones now, right? Or?
Yeah, I think it's the last one. I got 3 upper decks. No, I got one more of these left and 3 upper decks. So
cool. We've had a pretty good run with these ones too.
We have. They've all been good packets. So let's see what we got here.
Looking forward to it. Who we got today?
All right.
No Danny Mannings, please, Woods. I could hear hearing his name again tonight.
Okay. There have been 2 white guys that have hit really big shots for the Bulls during their championship run. This is the second one.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
Nice. Look at those shorts. How far that from the knee. Yeah, that's a great one.
And obviously current coach of...
Pretty handy coach for the Warriors, isn't
he? Yeah. Okay, we've got this guy's card so many times, okay? Probably in every different variety we've got his card, okay?
Really?
Great 3-point shooter. Works for the
3D.
3D Dennis Scott.
It's funny, I don't think we've had that card. I think we had him at Skybox and with an NBA Hoops one, so that's pretty cool there. Again, with rocking those tight shorts. He had that big body size, didn't he, for the guy back then? Straight out of Georgia Tech, 3D. So I've got his jersey, Woods. I'll have to wear that one episode soon, actually. It's a nice...
Okay, this guy played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has really big guy, and he has the same name as ex-Cleveland Cavaliers and Lakers coach, currently on the coaching staff at the Golden State Warriors. Okay, this guy has got glasses, bald head. He's head coach of the Nigerian national team. Who am I speaking of?
Confused me with all those clues you gave at the start. Give me one of those clues at the start again, apologies.
Okay, so he's coached the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's coached the LA Lakers. He's on the coaching staff.
Mike Brown.
Yeah, he's on the coaching staff on Golden State right now, yeah?
Yeah, probably sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, Nigerian head coach.
Yep.
His namesake, Mike Brown of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Wow. What can you tell me about him on the backwoods? He's not someone I remember too well.
Yeah, averaged between 4 and 7 points a game from 85 through to 92, 93. Played on the Bulls a little bit. 6'10", George Washington College. 69th pick in the 3rd round of the 85 NBA draft. So
they used to have about 5 rounds. Interesting. Yep.
Okay. Chicago Bulls legend. Then went on to the Orlando Magic. Then went on to the LA Lakers. And he is not the biggest fan of Michael Jordan at the moment. Horace Grant.
I feel like we've pulled a few Horace Grant cards over the time as well. Hey, keeping your eye on which one is the gold card as well, right?
Yep, this next one is the gold card. And it's one of your favorite players of all time.
Do not tell me Danny Manning.
No, it's one of your favorite players of all time. Loves to shoot the rock. Yes, Glenn Rice.
Gee, money, mate. I'll be getting that one off you next time for sure. Loving that.
Yeah, that's the gold one as well, man. Right? Yeah.
Awesome.
What? There's 2 gold ones in the same packet. When does this ever happen?
That hasn't happened. It's a double bonus. You sure?
Okay. There is 2. Ooh. I don't understand how that happened, but this guy is the quintessential white guy, okay? Played on that Run TMC team. I've mentioned him many times on this show. He's a bit crazy. Tommy Tolbert.
I don't think I've missed one today, Woods. This is going all right. Yeah, Tommy Tolbert. Wow, that's interesting.
Okay, a future scoring leader, okay? And this guy, I'm pretty sure he did become the scoring leader. And his jersey's been worn by 2 guests in the last 6 weeks of our show.
2 guests in the last 6 weeks in the scoring.
One wore his jersey, one wore his jersey.
Oh, the Admiral.
David Robinson.
Nice. What is that card there?
Future scoring leader. Remember we had the Larry Johnson one and the Charles Barkley one. So did he end up?
Is that an insert or is that just got a normal number? That's not like a limited number. Is it just a normal part of the set, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a normal part of the set, but I think it's an insert, right?
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And I'm pretty sure that 71 points he scored on the last night of the regular season gave him the scoring title, didn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Nate,
that was interesting.
Nate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right.
No, you are right with that one.
Okay. Lakers.
I lost you for about 5 seconds there. Would your internet connections is about as good as some of our guests have been recently tonight? So you
man, I don't know what's going on. I really apologize, guys.
Tell your missus to get off the Netflix or the YouTube, whatever she's doing right now. But,
yeah, I told her not to, man. Like, it's never been this bad.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, Lakers forward center Antonio Harvey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, don't know much about him, but yeah, I certainly remember the name.
Okay, Golden State Warriors guard. I remember this guy vividly. He was charismatic. He had a 22-point game against Miami. Suffered a season-ending knee injury in his rookie year. KJ, number 2, Warriors.
Warriors with the initials KJ.
Keith Jennings.
Oh, wow, that's a player I have not thought about for a long time. Wow.
Okay, this one I've never heard of this guy. Utah Jazz, Walter Bond.
Wow. B-O-N-N?
B-O-N-D. Yeah, Walter Bond. I'm putting.
Bond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that guy, Woods, because I don't know anything about him either. So he played about 4 seasons. Didn't really set the world on fire. Career averages of 5.7. Yeah, Walter Bond. Wow. That's a pretty obscure one right there.
Okay. Now, you've seen the Magic Johnson documentary, right?
Actually, Woods, I'm going to stop you there. Before you open this next one, you've mentioned the Magic Johnson documentary. What are your thoughts so far? Because I know we're both up to date. There's 8 episodes, 2 episodes to go. What are your thoughts?
The Magic Johnson documentary? You're talking
about the Magic or Winning Time? You're talking the Magic. Okay. Talk to me about both. What are your thoughts on Winning Time quickly?
It's been really good to be able to watch Winning Time and also having the Magic documentary at the same time, because I've actually been able to, a lot of the facts that have come up in both, they're completely correct, man. You know. And
so I haven't seen the Magic Johnson documentary, so you're obviously recommending that to everyone that hasn't sort of seen that yet?
Absolutely, man. Like, it's just
what
brilliant.
Is it, 4 episodes or something?
4 episodes, really good.
Yeah.
And this man, his final card or second final card, I'm gonna pull. This man was Iron Man, Magic Johnson's teammate, the Virgin.
The big Virgin. Yeah. Air conditioner green.
AC Green.
She's a bit of a rough card they've got in his warm-ups there or something. Like, considering he never missed a game, why are they getting a card with a photo of him in the warm-ups? So interesting. Who was that second gold card you got, by the way?
Tom Talbot, right?
Oh, so Talbot and
so Talbot
and
Glenn Rice in the same pack, man. I'll give you the Glenn Rice one along with the other Glenn Rice ones I got. Okay, this final card, played for the Sydney Kings later on, initially with the Celtics. Who am I talking about?
ACL.
ACL, baby.
Big man. Yeah. Decent card there. Look, he was a big unit. What was his height? 7'1", 7 foot?
6'10", man.
6'10", okay. Yeah, well, no, he's a big unit, wasn't he? He's definitely a good sort of defensive player back then. So, ACL, interesting pack there.
Nice, yeah. Nice. Pretty good pack.
I like that. Yeah. All right, Woods, that kind of gets to that stage where we might start wrapping it up, I think. So, look, we always sort of give some corrections last week. I want to sort of own up and apologise for my microphone last week, just as I want Woody to apologise for his internet connection after I finished saying that today. But I don't know what happened with the microphone last week. I had people say, we could hear a dog barking and we could hear, like, crickets and other stuff like that. So, not quite sure what happened with that, but either way, I apologise. Woods, would you like to get your internet apology in there?
Yes, and actually, I bought an Ethernet connector for my MacBook and an Ethernet cable, which I didn't plug in today. So from next week, we shouldn't have any problems in that department, man.
Right. Yeah, put it in next week. Sounds good. All right. So, just want to thank everyone for tuning in. As I mentioned at the start of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the videos on YouTube. Wherever you listen to podcasts, please make sure you like, rate, subscribe, and all that sort of cool stuff. So just reminder again where we can be followed on Twitter. We've been sort of quite active on the old Twitter lately, haven't we, Wood? So Twitter handle is @Throwback Hoops. Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. You putting much stuff on Instagram lately, Woods?
I did last week, man. I posted all the jerseys, and I think I'll do that again this week, right?
Sounds good, yep. And, of course, our email address is just the usual one there, so throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Look, the NBL is going to be wrapping up soon, so we might sort of incorporate a few viewer questions, in the next sort of couple of weeks maybe. So if you've got any questions, just send them through, and we'll try and get to those. Woods, you want to do your sort of plug stuff?
Yeah, so Patreon, jump on Patreon, look for Throwback Hoops. We'd love your support, as always. Yeah, and as you said, with regards to Instagram, I was at the basketball with Jacinta on Sunday, and she's gonna give me some tips on how to use my Instagram a bit better because she's more of an expert in that field there. So you'll see me a bit more active on Instagram. Thanks, Jacinta, for your help.
Very good. Look, before we go, Woods, I want to confirm two things with you, right?
Yep.
Firstly, I heard a rumor that you purchased 4 Sydney Kings jerseys last week on one day. 4 jerseys.
I did.
Second, so that's true.
That is true.
That one. Second rumor I heard that you may have won our NBL fantasy comp, beating Liam Santa Maria, who was basically in the top 20 for the whole year. So
I did.
Is that true?
I did. And,
how did you do that?
Well, I captained Xavier Cooks,
It came down to captain choice, didn't it?
and Liam captained my man Keanu Pinda, and then he sent me a text today. You saw that? I sent you the screenshot. Liam said to me, "Oh, Woody, I shouldn't have captained your boy Keanu. He let me down." Right? So.
Definitely. Great effort, because if only we played in the semis, Woods, I think I had about 150 more points than you and played Liam and he got on fire. But hey, it all happened at the right time. It comes down to captain's choice a lot in these NBL fantasies, doesn't it? Especially if you get the guy on that right weekend in a double there. And someone like Cooks, I mean, what did he put up? Is it 290 as a captain or something like that on your team? So, yeah, great sort of effort there. So, all right, Woods, I'm pleased to confirm you did get 4 Sydney Kings jerseys in one day and you did win our fantasy comp. With that, got anything to say before we leave?
Everyone just enjoy the playoffs, NBL and NBA, and we'll do it all again next week.
Thanks, good enough. Just want to thank everyone for their support and a big peace out from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Much love.